So the way we use this grid is slightly different. So we put percent up here, and these numbers are percents now. So we just write percent by each one. We use these coin numbers because we know from working with money that we can make up any amount of money, any amount of numbers from these coins. We don't need a 3 written down because we don't need a 3p because we can make that with 2 and 1. We don't need a 30p because we know we can make that with a 10 and a 20. So we just use our normal coins like we would use in money because we know we can make amounts out of these. Okay, so these are now all percentages. Okay, now let's say our question was, let's find 31% of 200. Let's do 31% of 200, okay? That looks quite hard, but it doesn't have to be if we use this method. We do need to have a really good understanding of place value though, so let's have a look. So to find 31%, we don't know yet. But if we look at what 100% is of 200, forget 31 for a minute, let's look at 100% of 200. That's the full amount. 100% means full, one full amount. So we know that 100% of 200 is 200. Now, if we know 100%, we can work out these others as well. The next one we could do is 50% because it's just half of 100%, isn't it? So we know that that would be 100. Now we've got 100% of 200, we can work out what 10% of 200 would be. It's just 10 times smaller. So that's 200. 10 times smaller than that is 20. And we've got 50% already. That's 100. So 5% is 10 times smaller than 50. So if 50% is 100, 5% must be 10 times smaller than that, which is 10. Okay? Now that we can't really do that. Well, we could do that actually. Yes, we can. We can do 20% now because we know what 10% is. 10%, double of 10% is 20%. So double of 20 is 40. Okay, so we can build up the amounts. How would you do 2% now that you've got this information? Press pause and have a go at 2% and 1%. Okay, let's see how you got on. Well, to find 2%, we can use 20%. 20% was 40, so 10 times smaller than 20 is 2. So 10 times smaller than 40 is 4. And to find 1%, well, we know 10%. 10 times smaller than 10 is 1. So we just have to make this 10 times smaller, which is 2. Okay, now we can go back to the original question, which was 31%. We can make up 31% by these percents. How would you make 31%? Well, you'd use a 20 and a 10 and a 1. So all we do is we take these amounts. We need that bit, we need that bit, and we need that bit. And now we can add up the percent. We know we've got 31% on this side. So all we do is add up the numbers we found on this side to get 31%. So we have 40, add 20 is 60, add 2 is 62. So we know that 31% of 200 is 62. That's the answer. And we have just used these percentages because we know they can make any amount, and we've worked it out like this. We'll do one more together and then I'll set you the work for the day. Okay, so we're going to do another example now, and you'll need to keep pressing pause for this one to see if you can do this one yourself. Now you might be thinking, or your parents might be thinking, well, we can just work out percentages on a calculator. And yes, you can, but firstly, calculators only do what the person working with them tells them to do. So for me, that means you have to really understand what percentages are about. And this method helps you to see what percentages are and how you build them up to make totals. So it's really important that you get your head around this sort of stuff now at this age, so that when you're older and you're doing quite complicated things with percentages at senior school, you will really understand all about percentages. Okay, so this is the example we're going to do. Let's do 44% of 350. Let's make it quite hard. Okay, so our question is, oh, I've smudged there, 44% of 350. So I'm going to give you the first bit. Remember how we start, you always start with the 100%. We don't need to worry about 44% yet. We just need to look at the amount, which is 350. So we know that 100% of 350, that's the full total. So 100% of 350 is 350. Right, press pause and see how many of the others you can fill in just from that. Off you go. Okay, how have you got on? So if we know that 100% is 350, we can do 10% immediately because that's just 10 times less than 100 is 10. So 10 times less than 350 is 35. I'm going to do 1% straight away as well. I know that 10 times less than 10 is 1. So 10 times less than 35 is 3.5. Okay, now which other ones can we do? Well, if we've got 1%, I can get 2%. I can double 3.5. If you double 3.5, you double the 3, you get 6, and you double the 0.5 and you get another whole. So double 3.5 is 7. Now I've got 2%. I can get 20% because it's just 10 times bigger. So 10 times bigger than 7 is 70. Okay, now what can I go for next? Well, I could do 50%. Now to do 50%, I just need to half 350, which is quite tricky. If we half 300, you get 150. And you half 50, you get 25. And when you add those up, you get 175. So half of 350 is 175. Now if I know that that's 50%, to make 5% it's just 10 times less, which is 17.5. Now actually we're looking at 44%. I didn't actually need the 5s because that won't help, but I've just put them on so you can see how this grid works. Okay, now that we've worked out all our percentages of each amount, we can now try and get to 44%. So to get to 44%, we need 2 lots of those to make 40, and we need 2 lots of 2, don't we, as well? So 2 lots of this percent, that's 2 lots of 70. Well, I know 2 lots of 7 is 14. So 2 lots of 70 must be 140. And again, 2 lots of 7 is 14. So I need 14 as well. And when I add them up, it's 154. So I know that 44% of 350 is 154 because I did 2 lots of 2 to make the 4%. And I did 2 lots of 20 to make the 40%, and that's what I got. So the work I've set for you today on Firefly isn't too tricky, and you could do it with this method that I first showed you. Not a problem at all, you could do that. But if you wanted to do it like this, using percentages of amounts, you could. It's up to you. So today's work isn't too tricky, but tomorrow's work on Firefly, you definitely will need to use, this method. Okay, but in our live lesson tomorrow, I'll go through this again. So it's your choice today whether you have a look at this method with dividing or this method where you set out the grid. This takes longer, but you can get really complicated percentages done very well on this. It's up to you.